Howdy, y'all. Hope you guys are having a good day today. So, every time we have a Baldur's Gate video, 2 videos ago was that BG3 versus D&D thing. Last one was Theater Fever Dreams. Well, this one, I was thinking, because in the playthrough that I have here, you're watching 2024 edition. So we downloaded the mod to play in 2024. In 24E, the newest edition of D&D. And we also added, the bosses have a little bit more HP, the AI of the enemies are a little bit more intelligent. It did a lot of things to change up how the game was played. But I wanted to discuss modded versus unmodded, just across the board, right? So games like Risk of Rain, or Lethal Company, or Minecraft, or Baldur's Gate, whatever the case may be, right? Obviously, there are some games, Gary's Mod, right? Or not Gary's Mod. Shoot, what's the name of the game? I'm drawing a blank. But there are some games where mods are kind of like the point of the game, right? While there are other games that aren't really that doesn't matter, all right? It's a matter of your imagination. I mean, if you really think about it, right? Minecraft is a sandbox game, so at the end of the day, it's what you can come up with, right? But I wanted to discuss my thoughts overall when it comes to modded versus unmodded. Now, I'll tell you straight up, Baldur's Gate's really the first game I started to really invest into modded. I've played Baldur's Gate for a very long time. Sorry, Minecraft for a very long time, and I won't lie. The thing with Minecraft is it's a lot of mods, right? A lot of different things you can add to the game to make it more challenging or more unique, or whatever the case is, and it can be very interesting to play. Always changing things up. But also the thing with Minecraft, right? We've talked about this before with the 2-week phase, which I'll link somewhere up in the top or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. The thing with that is, when it comes to Minecraft, it's really whatever you want, right? Well, the thing with Baldur's Gate is you can truly do endless things. I mean, the game itself takes the average person about 60 hours to complete already, right? And that's if you don't do everything. Now, if you do everything, you're looking at close to 120 to 140 hours to finish the game. And, I mean, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So if we think about how that works, right, in my opinion, I'm much less of a modded player. I really do enjoy unmodded, and this playthrough that my friend and I are playing, the one that y'all are watching, unfortunately may be switched because we ran into a couple issues with this playthrough, so we may need to make some changes. But I figure this actually plays pretty well because this video is talking about modded versus unmodded, and in this playthrough, we're playing a modded playthrough. In the other playthrough, which I haven't recorded much, unfortunately, we are already in Act 2 in the other playthrough. And it's unmodded, though. Okay, so we've completed the game many times. I mean, you've seen me roll dice on this through this playthrough. I beat honor mode. It's not like I haven't done the big things in the game yet. And I mean, there are many achievements I haven't done yet, but which further goes into playing vanilla versus playing the unmodded version. But in the playthrough we're doing, we are challenging ourselves to do everything that we do is decided based off of an IRL, a real life dice. So, like I said, I play D&D in real life, and so I have a set of dice here that I roll sitting next to my desk, and depending on what that dice rolls, so for instance, I'll grab a D6 right now, I rolled a 5 on the dice. So in a dialogue option, I would pick the 5th option. So if that means a combat or whatever, we then have to do that. So in dialogues we choose. We have to do whatever the dice roll, and in level ups we also roll a dice. So we roll a d6, and if it's an even number, we have to multi-class. If it's an odd number, then we stay the same class. Now, the thing with staying the same class is, you know, that could go well for a build or not too well. So, you know, we do that, and all of our decisions are based off the dice roll, and it makes things very, very difficult at times because you have to adapt on the fly. But there's no mods, like I said. That's purely vanilla Baldur's Gate. We're actually even playing without any sort of like 2024 edition. Like, this is old-fashioned Baldur's Gate, so like the broken open hand monk build, the broken swords bard paladin build. We haven't made any changes to it, and that's where my argument comes in, where what really can you do in modded versus unmodded, right? Is there really a difference? Well, at the end of the day, unmodded comes down to how much you individually can be creative, right? So my friend and I are doing a dice roll run, so it determines everything. In this playthrough, it was only 2 of us, right? It's a 2-person run. Now, all these are in honor modes to up the challenge, right? So we can't die. I did a personal run. What is the lowest level you can beat Baldur's Gate on, right? If you just were to skip everything and try to get through everything, what is the lowest level you can beat BG3 on? And I managed to get to Act 2 at level 3, or at level 2, and I leveled up to level 3, which is incredibly interesting for me, because it's like, typically you can get up to level 7, I think, before getting to Act 2 in Baldur's Gate. I managed to get in at level 2, and that's difficult because walking into places is going to give you, you know, depending on the location, depending on late game, you can get, you know, 5, 6, 700, 800, even 1200 XP, 1000 XP, and that'll level you up, right? I mean, to level up from level 1 to level 2 is like 600 XP. So, it's interesting, right? But it's all about creativity. Same thing for a game like Minecraft. It's all about the creativity. If you can play the game without the mods, you know, it really shows how much you as an individual can be creative. And not to get into, like, you know, fancy things or whatever, but like, that proves a lot as a person, right? If you can play a game and have fun, right? Have fun in the unmodded, right, without anything extra, it probably means that you are very creative, right? That you have the ability to make a lot of changes, or you know, sort of think out of the box, right? But if you're someone who, you know, enjoys modded, that's probably because you are okay with drastic changes, right? You can do a lot of things, but you always want something different. You always want something so drastic in a change that you can, like, notice it. That's what I see a lot with modded players. But I mean, at the end of the day, modded versus unmodded, it's a big thing across the board, like so many other games, right? Lethal Company, right? I'm modded. I play with modded Lethal Company all the time. On Baldur's Gate, I do both, you know? And you know what? I'm making this decision on the spot here. I'm going to start recording those dice roll games, and I'll start posting those as well. Because those are truly, like, it's interesting, right? How those playthroughs go. And it's all about how well you can change, how well you can adapt. And so it's something that, you know, I wanted to touch on because it really is unique. It really is different. Going from, you know, a modded game, or starting with like a vanilla unmodded game and then making that decision to go into modded. An unmodded game is always so, you know, the first time you play it, it's like, all right, cool, you know, it's really fun. And then you want to play it again. Especially a game like Baldur's Gate, you want to play it again, right? Well, what now? Right? Maybe you get an achievement, right? Maybe you play it in honor mode because you did it the first time, right? So there's a couple of those like big achievements you want to do, but when those achievements are over, what do you do? Right? How do you go about that then? And that's when people typically go for the mods, right? Well, now let me play modded, you know, let me make a big change. And this is really no argument one way or another whether or not you should play modded or whether you should play unmodded, but it's a conversation that I feel like was interesting, and I was bringing this up. And if you're you know, if you notice things, if you're perceptive, you may have noticed that the playlist that this video and many of my videos are going into now, instead of the daily life and story time, have been named shower thoughts. It's because all the video ideas I have come from when I'm in the shower. You know, I'm taking a shower, I'm washing my hair, and then I'm like, oh shoot, that's like a really good idea for a video. So yeah, I renamed the playlist to Shower Thoughts just to be a little bit funnier, but it's also true, because like I said, I'm coming up with these ideas while in the shower. But anyways, guys, that's sort of my quick little rant about that. And I mean, do what you will about it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but you know, maybe it's interesting to some of y'all to really think about, you know, the difference between unmodded and modded, and maybe some of y'all will switch to modded, maybe some of y'all will switch to unmodded, and you never know. But anyways, thank y'all very much for tuning in. See y'all again on Friday, where we're gonna talk a little bit about how to enjoy yourself when you get to college. But until then, guys, have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video.